Hello friends and welcome back to the channel. You know what time it is. Update time once again in MCOC, and I am back with everything that you need to know about the last update in 2024, the December patch, which will be live in just a few days. Folks, there is so much stuff that Kabam has packed into the December update, given that it is the 10th anniversary of the game. There is a lot of stuff to go through today, so let's hop right in, starting off with number one, the newest champ in the game for December, called ISOPHYNE. She's an all-new character, a mystic character, and one of the coolest things about her is that she has this ability called the Fractured Power Bar. You've probably seen this shown off in a few of the teases for her that have been going around. So it allows her to use any of her 3 special attacks as long as she has enough power for it. So you have 3 bars of power. You can use your special 1 3 times in a row. You can use your special 1, then your special 2, etc., etc. It's a really cool mechanic, never been done before in a champion. Really looking forward to that. Now, in the forum post for the Titan update that they put out, I think like a week or so ago, I think they perhaps accidentally revealed that there will be more of these types of champs, and they're called idols, E-I-D-O-L-S, idols. Another thing that they mentioned in that forum post is that there will be a non-standard way of obtaining her and the other champs like her. So this kind of feels like the de facto Deathless Chase for 2025, which is, if that's true, really exciting, because the Deathless Chase was one of the best parts about this year and will be a great addition to the game in the coming year. Number 2, the Banquet event is returning for 2024 to the surprise of absolutely nobody. It's always a very successful event for the game team. Now, if you've been away from the game for a while, the Banquet event is what the old gifting event used to be, and it's kind of evolved into after gifting was removed from the game completely a few years back. And if you're newer to the game and haven't been through one of the Banquet events before, the main focus here is that you earn points by buying and opening a bunch of these greater Banquet crystals with your units. They're usually 300 units apiece, and all those points go towards solo and alliance event milestones, and then you get like more units with which you can buy more crystals. There's a whole bunch of other really good rewards included in there as well. And it looks like new for this year, they're actually introducing a realm event as well. So every one of those greater Banquet crystals that you open will go into a community-wide pool, and will all work together towards milestones and with rewards that will be paid out to everybody. So really looking forward to that. Now, I do recall last year that the actual contents of these greater Banquet crystals were kind of panned a bit by like the really big spenders in the community. And I do know that they listened to that feedback quite intently after the event was over last year. So I am really curious to see like how much power creep is being introduced in this year's version of these crystals. Either way, for a free-to-play or moderate spender, the rewards from these crystals are going to be better than most things that you do in the game this year, which is kind of one of the the criticisms of the event. You cannot play the game for an entire year and pretty much catch up to everybody with a bunch of units during the Banquet, but we won't get into that. Now, I would expect, speaking of rewards, that there is going to be very small amounts of tier 7 basic catalyst fragments included in these greater Banquet crystals, probably at a very rare drop. And if so, I would be willing to bet that we'll probably see the first 7-star rank 4 champ shortly after the event starts, because there is absolutely going to be somebody out there opening enough of these to get enough of those catalyst fragments to form, I think it's like 3 tier 7 basic to get a rank 4. Somebody's going to do it. If it's available, somebody's going to get them. Now, I would recommend that you keep at least 3,000 units on hand for this event. In past years, that's been enough to kind of get all of the solo milestones, and even free-to-play players can manage 3,000 units with a little bit of arena grinding, and you're going to get a nice chunk of rewards for that amount of units. Obviously, the more you have, the more you're willing to spend, the more you're going to get back. So the last thing I want to mention about the Banquet is that there will be a new double track offered. This isn't directly related to the Banquet itself, but it's kind of listed here. So the typical price for the double track is like $30 US, I think. And if you claim it every day, this specific double track, the last reward is a 7-star Dazzler. which is pretty great. And remember that she is not being added to the Titan pool until March now, so this will be the only way to get her for the time being. So if you're interested in getting a 7-star Dazzler kind of before anybody else can in the Titan pool, this is the only way to do it. And $30 for these double tracks, by the way, you get more than enough return on that for it to be worth it. So I would highly recommend that. Number 3, unless you've been living under a rock for the past several months, you are aware that MCOC will be celebrating its 10th anniversary in, I think, a week or so as of this recording. And I want to point out here just like what a huge deal this is, because there are very few live service games and even fewer mobile live service games that last for 10 years. I haven't been playing for the full 10 years. I think I've been playing for 8 or 9, but to have a game make it this long is a huge accomplishment. So huge congrats to the game team on keeping this thing going for that long. It's really, really impressive. Now, there's going to be a bunch of things in the game to help celebrate this anniversary, but chief among them is this new thing called the Grand 10x10 supply drop, which will start on December 10th. So from the 10th of December to the 19th of December, log in every day to be rewarded with a free champion, and then Paragon players or up will be getting a 7-star champion for free. So if you are close to getting Paragon, now is the time to push, because 10 free 7-stars is some of the most ridiculous free rewards we've ever gotten in this game. By the way, the champions selected in this supply drop pool, it's like one champion from each year of the game, and they go in order, including a 7-star Gwenpool, who is being made available as a 7-star for the very first time and will not be available anywhere else but through this supply drop for the time being. So again, if you are close to Paragon, make sure you make that push so that you can get your exclusive and free 7-star Gwenpool. And then the last thing I want to mention with this is that the last champ in the supply drop is the newest champ, ISOPHYNE. So if you are a Paragon or Valiant player, you log in for 10 days in a row and you get the newest champion in the game at the highest available rarity for absolutely free, which is just incredible. I can't even overstate how cool it is that they're giving out a new 7-star champion just for logging in. Really, really good stuff. Number 4, 60 frames per second. This was actually turned on in the game, I think, with the last month's update. However, just in case you weren't aware, MCOC is now running at 60 frames per second on supported devices. It looks really, really good. It's almost like playing a whole new game. You can enable it in the settings of the game for either fights only or just the menu system, or both. Me personally, I have it on just for fights. It does consume quite a bit of battery, even on my brand new iPhone, so I don't really feel like I need it for the menus, but in fights, it looks good enough to keep on full time. There's a few issues with it here or there. Intercepts kind of feel weird. You kind of have to relearn and be a little bit more accurate with some dexes here and there. But all in all, it was really easy to get used to, and I don't think I could imagine going back to 30 now. So definitely check it out and enable it if you haven't already. Number 5, we are getting a whole new set of Carina's challenges in December called the Anniversary Carina's Challenges. And it has been a minute since we've had some proper Carina's challenges designed by the game team. If you remember, the last set of challenges we had were ones designed by the CCP members, and I think it's been a couple years since we've had actual Carina's challenges. So really looking forward to these. Not much info available here, as you can see. My expectations for these, I'm thinking maybe 5 or 6 in total. And I fully expect that most, if not all, of these challenges are going to be specific to Necropolis. It is the tippy-top Everest content in the game. We don't have any challenges related to Necropolis. It really kind of makes sense that most or all of them are going to be related to it. Now, whether that means, 5 or 6 full paths, which sounds not that fun, to be honest with you, especially if you've already explored it, or a bunch of partial paths. I think they have the tech to do that now. Who knows the answer to that, but I fully expect that they're all going to be related to Necropolis. Now, again, not much information available here, other than it says it's going to be featuring unique and deathless rewards. I do expect that this is how we're going to be getting the dupe for Maestro. If you recall, I think last week, Kabam crashed put a note out on the forums saying, don't use your awakening gems from Cyber Weekend on Maestro, kind of saying without saying that there will be a way, shortly to awaken your Maestro naturally in the game. And I'm almost certain that it's going to be through these challenges. Now, the Deathless rewards here is interesting to me. It does feel like it is too soon for Deathless Thanos, so I do kind of think he's off the table for this. And I think we'll still be in the middle of the Deathless She-Hulk hunt, so like getting the dupe for her out of these challenges doesn't really feel likely either. So if you kind of eliminate those things, I think maybe we'll see like Deathless Sigstones maybe, or like maybe a selector where you can choose between like Deathless Sigstones or like a Deathless rank up gem. Because if you have them all ranked up, a gem is not going to be too useful for you. So having the choice between a gem or Sigstones would be pretty nice. But not sure. That's all speculation, of course. And then the last thing I want to note about these Carina challenges is that if you have any rank ups banked, especially now that Cyber Weekend is about to end, I would probably save them until you kind of know what these challenges are going to be. Because you'll almost certainly need specific champs, specific tags champs, to get through these challenges, and you want to make sure that you have rank ups available for them if possible. Also, of course, start saving those revives, start farming up those potions, because if these challenges are indeed related to Necropolis, you're absolutely gonna need them. All right, number 6. I kept this hidden during the last one because it's such a huge deal. I didn't want to spoil it for you before you actually saw it. After 10 years in the game, they are finally increasing the level cap in MCOC from 60 to 70. So when the patch drops, you'll be able to see that you can go up to level 65, and then levels 66 through 70 will be revealed sometime over the course of the next year. So this is intended to be a long-term undertaking, as it says here, and you'll need a new resource called Refined XP in order to get to some of these levels. So I think this is probably intended to prevent people from farming quests, just to, get up to 65 as quickly as possible. So I imagine this Refined XP is kind of going to be doled out in like small amounts, kind of like Catalyst fragments, but they'll be for your account instead of for a champion. This will allow Kabam to kind of control when people or how quickly people will be able to get to level 65 and beyond. Now, there will be rewards for hitting each new level, including some stuff that I'm really excited for. Capacity increases for items, which is fantastic if you don't pay for the sigil, which is the only way to increase your capacity currently. Some new cosmetic items, which sounds fine. And then a number of levels between 61 and 70 will contain additional mastery points, which is incredibly exciting. They added a mastery point to Necropolis, Exploration I think it was, so giving us even more from 61 to 70 is great. I can't wait to make good use of those. Really, really excited. Never thought I would see the day. It feels like there's a forum post every week asking for a level cap increase, so for them to finally be doing it, I think is pretty great. Number 7 are the Glorious Guardian reworks. So if you recall, Medusa and Purgatory and Black Panther Civil War all received buffs in the past couple months, and with December, 3 champions are going to be buffed, kind of completing that pool, and that's going to be Sentry, Sentinel, and Deadpool X-Force. So just some general information here on these 3 buffs. I have seen the deep dives and the kits, but they are all under embargo still, so I can't really talk about anything in detail. First one up here, Sentry, one of the champions I actually predicted would be in this pool. Really long overdue for a buff, and really glad to see him get buffed here. He seems designed for incursions, which they kind of mention here. So get yourself a bunch of hacks that have to deal with debuffs, and he's just going to deal out some significant damage. He's way better than he is now. So if you're a Sentry fan, you got to look forward to that. Next up is Sentinel. Again, another champion that I predicted would get a buff here. Really glad that they went with Sentinel here, especially since we have so many Mr. Sinisters running around in the game now. Having another robot who can effectively handle Mr. Sinister makes him a really, really good choice for a buff. So similar to Sentry, he is a lot more powerful than he is right now. One thing I will tease with Sentinel is that the part of his kit specific to his Special 3 is just so cool and just like a really good idea, especially with like when you consider the character itself. Really, really excited for you to see that, and that's all I'm going to say about it. And then lastly, Deadpool X-Force. This is, I think, his second buff overall. Honestly, Deadpool X-Force might end up being the most popular of the 6 buffed champs, especially with this new damage over time effect type called a Spleed. I don't think I can spoil it, but it's pretty OP, and I think you're going to like it. So look forward to all 3 of those buffs being active when the patch drops. And finally, if you consider all 6 of the champions as a whole, I think that's what we're going to be getting as like the Glorious Guardian pool. So all 6 of these champions I would expect will be available sometime in December, either through Banquet milestones or like, rare drops in those greater Banquet crystals. So we'll see how that kind of turns out. Last but certainly not least is this month's list of bug fixes and improvements. As usual, I am not going to go through all of these because there are a lot of them, more than usual, but you can either pause the video as I scroll through them, or you can head over to the official blog post and read them all there. So I do have 5 that I want to call out here. That's more than I usually call out, but again, there's quite a few for December. So the first one I want to call out is actually a buff to Armor Shattered. It's the first one in the list here. So Armor Shattered will now reduce the ability accuracy of armor up passives as well as buffs. So this is a pretty significant power increase to both Medusa and Vision Arcus, especially Medusa, because she was just buffed a month or 2 ago and is now even more powerful than she was even since that buff went live. So really, really good change for both of those champs. All right, next up, I kind of have to find these on the fly here. Here we go. Fixed an issue with players losing crossfight and pre-fight charges after closing the app or crashing in various multiplayer and questing game modes. So this was fixed probably, it feels like 5 or 6 times, and then the bug kept reappearing. As you can see, they say no but for real this time. So if you don't know what this is, so if you're in Alliance War, or if you're in a long form content, especially like Incursions or in Necropolis or Abyss, and you have a crossfight like the Apocalypse's Horseman pre-fight or the Odin pre-fight buffs, if you force quit the game or the game crashes on you, there is a chance that when you go back into the game, your pre-fight, your crossfight is completely gone and you can't get it back. So it's really a bummer, especially for Incursions and modes where you've been in there for a couple of hours. So hopefully they have actually fixed this permanently, and we don't have to go through this yet again in a couple of months. All right, next one is down here. Fixed an issue with Enchantress being able to use her heavy attack stun directly after her special 3. If you've been following my war videos for the past 2 seasons, I've gotten burned by this probably 2 or 3 times fighting Enchantress bosses with Void. So the basic idea here is that she's supposed to be able to do a stun with her heavy attack, kind of like Doom or Chavez do, but she's doing it after her special 3. Her special 3 attack animation ends, you are right next to her, and somehow she's able to immediately charge her heavy and stun you, despite not hitting you with a basic attack first. So that has been fixed, thankfully. Really glad to see that, because frankly, Enchantress is annoying enough without her being able to do that. All right, the next one I want to cover is this one here. You may have noticed this, you may have not. Fixed an issue where claiming a reward will cause the event screen to reopen. So if you go into the solo event milestones and you click the claim button, the little panel on the side closes and then it reopens, and it's just super annoying. That was definitely not intended and will be fixed. Really glad to see that, because I find the extra animations on those panels unnecessary to begin with. So to have it just an extra half second or a second for that to pop back open before you can claim more rewards was just really irritating. So really glad they're fixing that. And then the last one I wanted to cover here is also the last one in the list. Everybody has seen this. Fix an issue where the fight camera loses track of characters if the defender used a special 3 while a striker was in play. I've seen so many clips of this. So the basic idea here is that if you use your special 3 while your striker is on the field, when the special 3 finishes, it's the characters are just gone and you can't see anything. The fight continues, but you can't see what's going on. So funny to see, not funny to experience, and will be fixed with this patch. Folks, that's going to do it for the December update. I know you might be feeling a little overwhelmed. It probably feels like I just dropped a metric ton of information on you. And if you can believe it, there's probably even more that they have to reveal that they didn't put in these patch notes for us that they probably revealed on the official live stream, which I think as of time of this video going live should be over or just about over. So make sure you catch the replay of that live stream or head over to the official forum and check out the recap that my good buddy Akbar does after every live stream. Really, really great work by him. Folks, let me know in the comments below what you're most excited about in the December update, and I really think you got your work cut out for you because there is just so much stuff happening. We're getting a brand new champ, a brand new Marvel character, and we're getting her for free as a 7-star as part of the supply drop. Are you excited for the Banquet event, which is a really popular event every year? Perhaps you are really into PvE content and you're excited about these Carina challenges, or are you, a simple creature who just wants to see the number 70 next to your name on your profile in the game? Either way, let me know in the comments below. And as always, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you again next time.